there's a microphone right there to catch the last gurgles, and Technicolor to photograph the red swollen tongue.
Hey, Vern.
Future events such as these
Angling?
will affect you in the future.
Damn you, Rabbit! You smell like fucking piss!
You're watching The Projectors.
Hell yeah!
A film fan program discussing a variety of movies from history and around the world.
What do you think of this boner I got?
Featuring your hosts, Bob Sham.
When you're Scandinavian, flopping out your mommy milkers is nothing.
And Angela.
If they were just gun perverts, this would be fine.
Party!
Thank you for selecting The Projectors.
I want French pancakes like at IHOP.
And now a preview of our film discussion.
Did you hear that? I heard that. What was it? Could be a lot of things. Yeah? A coyote. There aren't any coyotes in England.
I'm sorry I'm upsetting you, David, but you don't understand what's going on.
I understand, all right. You're one of the undead, and I'm a werewolf.
Yes, that's right.
David, stop!
I'm going to the police! Jack was right!
Jack is dead!
Yeah, Jack is dead, and 6 people are dead. There's gonna be a full moon tonight. I'm going to the cops!
Oh, be serious, would you?
You can't let them go.
Should the world know our business?
It's murder then.
Then murder it is.
Excuse me.
I'm a werewolf.
A werewolf.
Yes, love? A naked American man stole my balloons.
What?
It's the Jack!
Let me live!
Sounds just how it is.
Let me live!
Come back!
Hey, just under the wire, just under the line.
Hi.
Week 4 of Halloween HUMPFEST 3.
Yup.
We told you we were going to be late, and we were.
A whole week.
But just right in time for Halloween, we got our week 4, in which I'm calling it Campy Creeps and Horny Haunts. Because these movies are very silly and some quite horny.
Quite horny.
Quite horny. This will not be our last week. We have one more week, which will drop sometime in November. And then we'll have a Thanksgiving episode. And then a Christmas one. And then we'll be more free to do these other things that we've been building up towards for a while. So who knows? You know, I'm still dropping Documenteers, reposting Documenteers episodes every Tuesday. So you can hear those there. There's at least 200, I think there's like 150 individual documentary discussions from that old show. So that's 150 weeks total just of that. Just
it's
to
a
say
lot.
it.
We did it for a long time.
Well, I foolishly took down the RSS feed and eliminated all the clicks and all the whatever, but it's back.
Yeah.
It's coming back. You can slowly revisit it or hear it all for the first time. And in between all there, we'll pop in with some general movie discussions.
We're going to generally talk about some movies right now.
generally talk about general movies.
General Halloween movies.
And we're going to discuss our first ever John Landis film, An American Werewolf in London from 1981, written and directed by John Landis, starring David Naughton, Jenny Agutter, who's very hot, Griffin Dunn, John Woodvine, many more, cinematography by Robert Painter, and I don't see who... They should put the effects. Who does the effects? I don't have the IMDb.
Oh, yeah, because that's huge in these movies.
The effects are actually pretty good. The makeup and everything, and the transformation. How would you rate the transformation on this one?
This transformation is the best transformation in all of cinema, and I have a fact.
All of cinema?
Werewolves.
Okay.
Werewolf transformation.
Angela, very hyperbolic. Go ahead.
Well, I think this is the best werewolf that I've seen. It's the best werewolf transformation.
Specifically the transformation.
Yes, and I have a fact about this. This transformation was only filmed one time.
What a fun fact. Mm-hmm. So this is the movie John Landis made after Blues Brothers. He also made movies like Kentucky Fried Movie, Animal House. After this, he made movies known for movies like Three Amigos, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Also directed the Michael Jackson Thriller video, which I think what he did with this movie led directly to that. I think it's pretty obvious. This is the movie before he contributed to... He might have did one more movie in between where he infamously, allegedly, I should say, allegedly, because he was acquitted of manslaughter, where he had allegedly created an unsafe on-set environment filming the 1/4 of his... Because the Twilight Zone movie had 4 different directors, and he was one of them, right? The other ones were Steven Spielberg, George Miller, and Joe Dante. We'll talk about Joe Dante later. And John Landis allegedly got so fucking serious about the pyro effects that it led to the death of 2 Chinese-American child actors and Victor Morrow, who happens to be Jennifer Jason Leigh's father. Vic Morrow was killed when a helicopter fell on top of these actors when they're recreating some Vietnam scene. And so he was in court for a long time, and he was ultimately acquitted. And Warner, I think the company was Warner Brothers, settled almost $1 million out of court for civil suits or whatever. But it didn't really affect Landis's career that much, from what I can tell. I mean, going forward and making Trading Places a pretty beloved movie, and so he always had a reputation for being like a real dick. Mm-hmm. Like that's always kind of floated around him. And his son is like a dirtbag, like Max Landis. I don't even need to get into Max Landis, but if you want to hear my favorite Max Landis shit, there's a podcast that Kumail Nanjiani did with his wife about video games.
The Indoor Kids. Called
The Indoor Kids, a long time ago. Max Landis is on an episode of that, going on and on and on, talking about what he would do if he got to write comic books. Explaining out all of his stories and what he would do. Like, it's so ridiculous to listen to. But I recommend going to listen to that little bit. Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway, we're talking way too much about that weirdo kid who's pretty much canceled for being a sexually harassing creep.
Cancel him.
Cancel him again, I guess.
Cancel him from this show.
We will. We should probably never talk about him again. But John Landis, his dad, allegedly not much better, but he did become successful in this movie, An American Werewolf in London. It's a comedy movie, and it's kind of strange, but but there was something weirdly serious about it, at least the approach to it. And much like another movie we discussed last year, The Howling, the Joe Dante movie, this movie is very much a very obvious ode to all the previous werewolf stuff and the Wolfman and all that.
They make direct references to specific actors and movies all throughout. They even talk about the symbol of the werewolf.
Yeah, the pentagram, which is on the wall of this Hammer horror village that David and Jack, they're hiking through the moors, and they go into this town that's like a village in a Hammer horror movie. And there's a pentagram on the wall there, which...
Of the slaughtered lamb?
Yeah.
Isn't that right? I think
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And the locals there, they kind of scare them off and tell them to stay on the road. But after they leave, a barkeep feels real guilty about pissing them off. But do they stay on the road? No, they walk right out into the moors where they are attacked.
They also... Sorry. I have a problem with this, though. These people, yes, they shouldn't have sent them out there, but then they decided to send them out there, and they said, don't get off the road. Something bad will happen. These kids are talking about girls, and then all of a sudden realize they're in the middle of a field. There's no reason to get off the road. They act as though they didn't know they were off the road.
Well, they just willfully just went off. I mean...
Well, no, they all of a sudden are like, oh no, we're not on the road anymore.
Well, a werewolf attacks them. Jack is killed brutally. And David wakes up in a London hospital with a hot-ass nurse who feeds him. The nurse played by Jenny Agutter.
This is the horniest movie
This is pretty horny.
this week.
I think you're probably right. When she is literally feeding him, I was chubbing a little bit. There was they had a chemistry there.
It is so hot. It is really hot.
And she is super hot.
Yeah. She's super hot. He's not bad looking either. And they have this animal magnetism.
Will I have to take such drastic action again, David?
Jack, he returns undead, and the makeup, when you see him, the makeup is great as he's in his undead forms. That's probably the prosthetics, the makeup, these are the best parts of this movie. And when undead Jack comes back, he explains that he is trapped in limbo because he was killed by a werewolf, and he will not be able to rest in peace until David, who is now a werewolf, who doesn't believe he's going to be a werewolf, he has to kill himself. Isn't it also like you have to be killed by someone who loves you?
He has to die.
Yeah.
He just has to die. So as long as the werewolf who killed you is alive, you're destined to roam the earth. And he is rapidly decaying as we see him through this movie. He looks,
The undead Jack, I mean, he looks cool. But it doesn't make sense why his ghost form is decaying. I kind of wish that he just, when we first saw him torn, that's the way we saw him throughout the rest of the movie. But he continuously decays until he's basically like a skeleton and he's talking to him in a theater.
And he makes some comment about how he's going to continue to decay into dust. But then he also says people have been around for decades who got killed by werewolves, whatever.
The doctor of the hospital, Dr. Hirsch, he just takes it upon himself to investigate these wounds, and he goes to the little Hammer horror town, right, where he learns about lycanthropy or whatever.
It's so weird because the townspeople dressed the wounds and delivered him to the hospital.
Yeah, they helped him.
They said they were attacked by...
The escaped lunatic, the one who killed the boy.
Something. They were attacked by something, and he was like, no, this was a giant wolf. Like, he remembers it. And I don't understand the thought of the townspeople. Sure, they didn't want to just let him die. But they just, like, rolled they took a real big chance in that he would not remember. So, yes, the doctor goes and looks. Also, this whole time, as he's having these visions, he thinks he's losing his mind.
They also reference the, what is the guy in the Hammer horror who's the Wolfman, Oliver... He's the drunk, the himbo.
Oliver Reed?
Oliver Reed, yeah, they reference Oliver Reed in here too.
They also talk about Lawrence Chaney.
Because the Americans, their reference is the Universal, and in England, they're like, oh, you mean like Oliver Reed, the Wolfman, right? So I love that, and I love Hammer horror, and I love old Universal movies as well, so that's just kind of a treat if you're a horror nerd.
Yeah, this was like a love letter to those.
David is released and immediately goes to stay and fuck the nurse, Alex.
This nurse, she ain't following no rules. She's like, hey, you're crazy.
But she's got to go to work that night. And of course, there's going to be a full moon, and where he has this crazy dream of Nazi werewolves killing people. That's when we see the change effect, and it's done like, I mean, you can tell that it's makeup like done in stages, right? But it really does work, and you can tell that there's limitations in terms of effects at the time and what you can do. But I think for the time and what it is really is quite impressive. And the look of the werewolf himself, like the beady, like very sharp looking eyes. And so we get a medley of Londoners walking around and getting killed, and we don't really see much of the werewolf, but there's that awesome subway scene where the guy is running up the stairs, and it's really well shot, and you see the werewolf, like you can see the top, like you can tell it's a guy in a suit just crawling, but that's all it needs to be.
It looks really
You just
good.
get a little bit of that shot. David wakes up nude in a comedic scene where he has to run around and he's taking like sheets and people's clothes or whatever.
Meanwhile, the doctor is like, there's werewolves. And he calls the nurse and he's like, where's David? And they can't find him at first.
Well, he can't be convinced, but he is later, when he hears the reports, he understands that it is him.
Or at least that he might be insane in doing it, or having this, like, you know, time lapse.
So he tries to get himself arrested.
Officer! Officer, I killed those people last night.
You did you?
He's playing a silly joke.
You be quiet.
We had an argument. He's being silly.
I don't know this girl.
All right, you two, move along, right?
Come on, David.
Come on, I want you to arrest me, you asshole.
There's no call for that kind of language.
Queen Elizabeth is a man. Prince Charles is a faggot. Winston Churchill was full of shit.
That's enough.
But then they just think he's crazy and they send him home with the doctor.
And he's at risk. There's going to be another full moon, and he's at risk of turning again. And he's in this theater. And when he's in the theater, he sees Jack. This time he's like full skeleton. But he also sees like all the people he killed from that first night, which is a kind of a weirdly charming scene of them being like, why did you do that? He's like, I don't know. And it's like, this guy there's really no other way for this movie to end than him dying, of course. Well, he transforms in the theater, and he goes out and he's wreaking havoc on the city, and until he is finally cornered in an alley, and Alex is pleading with him in his wolf form. But
just the nurse.
The Wolfman story is so fucking tragic, because it's always about someone who's actually kind of a nice guy, maybe even heroic in how he maybe fought off a fucking werewolf to become one. And there's no other way for him to go, because David is rendered in this bloodlust, still lunges for Alex, but the police shoot him dead. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Yeah. It ends right there. Like, there is no other place for any werewolf movie to go unless you make the werewolf like Twilight style, where they're kind of good, like they have control.
Or Teen Wolf.
But I think the thing that makes the werewolf story special is how it is basically like a good man cursed.
Yes.
And there's only one place for it to go. That's the scary part of it, where you can be this good guy but turn into something so bloodthirsty and crazy that you will kill the person you love the most.
And you don't even know you're doing it. That's the thing. She's trying to appeal to him inside the beast, but he's not there in that moment.
Well, this movie cost around $6 million, made at $62 million. So one of the bigger hits of what we're discussing today. And for our first John Landis movie, I did think this was a very entertaining movie overall. I think I just like werewolf movies too.
Yeah.
I think I just do. Because of the creative stuff. There are things that don't make sense, like why Jack is decaying if he's a ghost. But he did look cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought this movie is a lot of fun. I'm going to go 3.5.
That is also my score.
3.5. Okay. Also, I will play I've only played the trailers for like the first movie we discussed, but I decided recently that I will play the trailer in between every movie discussion. So that is a 7 for An American Werewolf in London. John Landis, you're a reckless man.
Stop being reckless. Is he dead?
Is he dead? Hold on. I'll find out. He is not dead.
Stop being reckless.
It began as a routine assignment.
Transylvania.
Where is that?
I don't know. It's over there someplace.
But beneath the surface...
Transylvania's cute. It's cute.
...of this happy land, horror awaits them.
I'm investigating Frankenstein.
You mean the monster?
And a terrible secret lurks in the shadows.
I'm terribly sorry. We thought you were an animal.
He is.
Now they're discovering the truth.
Did you see Dracula?
Yeah, when it first came out.
About the creatures of the night.
Shut up, you lowlife. I am low. I'm lower.
The curse of the undead.
Huh? Did you want to hurt me?
Hurt you? No. Bite you?
The terror of the full moon.
Oh yeah, I'm going into town.
And the monster that science created.
Full House.
But could not destroy.
Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Good. Everything hurts.
Jeff Goldblum. Ed Begley Jr.
Hi, ladies.
Joseph Bologna. And Gina Davis.
Tell me you want me too.
For a good time called
Transylvania 6 5000.
It's good, huh?
We're talking about the I guess this is a cult comedy at this point, is Transylvania 6 5000. It's a horror comedy directed by Rudy DeLuca, written by Rudy DeLuca as well, starring Jeff Goldblum, Ed Begley Jr., 80s Carol Kane, who I have a big crush on, Jeffrey Jones, sex crim, John Biner, Gina Davis, Michael Richards, Norman Fell. There's a lot of people in this movie. And I think this movie, if it's not, this movie should, sometimes you watch a movie and it's like, this should just be public domain. Like anyone should just be able to get this movie.
Yeah, for all the people in this movie who have been good in other things, even great in some things.
Like, it doesn't even look good.
It doesn't look good. The jokes fall flat. The timing is bad.
The timing is weird. This movie is like if Mel Brooks was at 20% and didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or maybe if he was
he would still be funny.
If he was at 20% of where he was at when he was making Spaceballs.
Okay.
But there is a scene in this movie that I thought was fucking hilarious that I think is actually probably the funniest scene in the whole movie. When they first arrive to the brightly lit Transylvania, Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr. approach the castle or estate or whatever, and that's when we first meet Michael Richards, who his character fancies himself a comedian, and he does like a puppet show.
Away from there. And get that stuff.
Excuse me.
Get out of there. Get away from there, you fool!
I agree that it was the funniest part of the movie. This movie is preposterous even in the premise that these two guys work at a newspaper, and I guess their newspapers like, what were they called when we were young? It was like the Star, or like, you know those ones at the grocery store that they used to have when we were kids, like the
Sensation. It's a tabloid, which makes a little more sense because when I'm watching the movie, I thought it was just like a regular classic paper, because their editor is like, you got to go to Transylvania and investigate Frankenstein. And the natural response that they have, of course, is,
I'm sorry, you're counting on us for a what story?
Frankenstein. You remember Frankenstein? Big guy.
Frankenstein. I didn't think he was still alive. You didn't think. That's right. You didn't think. He was never alive, Schmohawk. That's the point. That was a book. That was a movie. That wasn't real life, and it certainly isn't the news.
Well, I think it is.
I guess there's a video of Frankenstein kidnapping somebody or something.
Yeah, it's a video of him grabbing someone, and then the camera drops and you just see his legs, and this editor wants them to go.
It seems like that could be anything, though.
Well, and that's the point that I guess our hero, Jeff Goldblum, is trying to make. He wants to be a real journalist.
Yeah.
And he says, this is totally ridiculous, but Ed Begley Jr. is the son.
Egg Begley Jr. If he was an item, if Ed Begley Jr. was an item in your refrigerator, he'd be Egg Begley Jr.
But can't say his name. I want you to put his face in the center of like a fried egg. Ed Begley Jr. is the son of the editor, and he will believe anything, I guess. He's kind of dumb.
He's just trying to get up the ladder, that's all.
Didn't you hire me to raise the journalistic level of this paper?
Wrong. I hired you to raise the vocabulary level of this paper. I want to keep the journalistic level very low. Why do you think I teamed up with him?
Hey, I'm a team player. Mac, this is crap.
Crap? I like crap. I love crap. I need crap. Crap is what sells newspapers. Look around you. Crap, crap, crap. Crap, 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 crap.
May I say, I have no problem with crap.
They go to Transylvania. That's where they meet Jeffrey Jones, who's barely rocking an accent. Michael Richards' character, he's like the footman. He has a vaguely Mediterranean accent. And then you have guys...
They're not even trying.
Yeah, like it's not at all. And then you got Radu. I guess he's a little Eastern European.
Doesn't Gina Davis doesn't even have an accent, does she?
Yeah, no, we see her later. And Carol Kane is there.
She's doing a thing.
80s Carol Kane doing her kind of slapsticky shtick.
I also love her and her husband in the kitchen.
But why doesn't he want to fuck her? It makes no sense. You don't even realize it's her husband until a little later.
No, if I put it in context for you, you will get it. She's hot. He loves her, but he's trying to do his business
He's
and
gay.
she won't leave him the fuck alone. No, she's up in his grill constantly. And he's like, just give me a fucking minute. He would like her more if it wasn't so right in front of him.
This is a stereotypical Carol Kane character in which she's a little insane and very horny. She's either insane or horny or both.
Yeah. And in this one, both. But she also just wants his attention.
But they have no connection to the main characters until... Like, barely, until everything, like, ties together. I mean, they're connected with what's going on in the castle, but it's just something that's completely removed from the main characters and what they're doing.
Well, he's like the Igor character, right? So there's these glimpses of what you would expect in a Dracula or a Frankenstein movie, and he's that. And his whole thing is that everyone is his master, and he is her master.
Well, the locals are all making fun of them because they're asking about Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Which I also thought was funny when the villagers are, like, making fun of him openly. Jeff Goldblum, he's playing this, almost like a Bill Murray-esque character, right? Like an 80s Bill Murray-esque character where he's kind of swaggery and he's trying to hook up. And he's trying to hook up with this single mom who's vacationing in Transylvania with her son. And Ed Begley daughter, and Ed Begley Jr.'s character keeps encountering a foxy vampire lady played by Gina Davis. These pursuits should be reversed because Ed Begley Jr., he appears more straight-laced. I think his character would have been served better to bumblingly try to get with this nice woman and failing, or maybe the kid doesn't like him. And it seems like that the Jeff Goldblum character, who comes off more as a himbo, would be more funny pursuing the horny vampire lady, but also because she is a captive or whatever, maybe that gets foiled in some way. It just seemed like that those characterizations they should have swapped the love interest.
I don't know. I thought it made sense because Ed is trying to do his job. He's only focused on doing his job. So he's not going to go chase some girl. He's mad at Jeff Goldblum for trying to go out on dates when they're supposed to be doing research. And he's the one who's at the hotel or castle because Jeff Goldblum's always out. He's just the first one Gina Davis sees. And we find out later she's just a fucking horn dog.
Well, they learn about this guy named Dr. Malavakwa who lost his license. So they're investigating that. That's where it's leading them to. And they also encounter a variety of things, like a hand in a swamp that grabs, I think it's Ed Begley Jr.'s dick. A psychic that gives very specific information and then passes out and breaks the table. We see a werewolf. We see the horny vampirist, who's played by Gina Davis. And eventually we do meet a Frankenstein who gets loose, and he takes the single mom's daughter while she's on a date with Jeff Goldblum's character. And Ed Begley Jr. is around too, but she's so distracted. Like the delivery, the comic delivery, it's not that nothing's funny in this movie. I mean, it throws a lot, so you're going to laugh a little bit, but there's something just awkward about the timing of everything and the way it's framed and the way the shots linger. And like I said, it just doesn't look good. Like, it doesn't have like a good cinematography to it. It's just like kind of a busted looking movie.
Yeah.
Like, it looks, they had about $3 million budget, which was good in 85. And this movie made $7 million, so it doubled its profits. But like, it just kind of looks shitty overall, you know?
It really does. Even when they do get down into the laboratory, even the chains look like shit. It just doesn't look, it's not well put together.
Frankenstein, he ends up being a nice guy and he's just friendly with the girl. And when he returns to the town, Malavaka as well is like, he's portrayed as a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, where this actor is like, he slicks his hair back and he's like a nice guy, and then he messes his hair up and he's like a crazy mad scientist.
But it's only when he steps into the lab. So if you can get him out of the lab, he's a normal, sane, rational person.
When Frankenstein returns to the town, the Wolfman and the swamp creature, who ends up being like this contortionist, the Wolfman, they explain everything to where it's like no one is really a monster. Everyone just has like a condition or some medical thing that they're dealing with. Like the Wolfman's just a hairy man, and
which has happened in real life.
I forget what Gina Davis is.
She's just a horny lady.
Just a horny
and she
lady.
Wants to be a vampire. She takes her teeth out. Her and Ed Begley Jr. do get together, and then the thing they debunk everything else. The Frankenstein guy is just someone who used to be in the town who needed a lot of like surgeries to, I don't know, he's in an accident. Then they call out, is it Radu? Is our Igor character?
I think so, yeah.
So he and his wife are sitting there and they're like, and they let these two awful people mate and they produced this hideous creature. And out from nowhere comes this child.
Daddy, Mommy.
Who's like leaning over. And they look at each other and she leans down. And I remember this line from being a child. I don't remember all of this movie, but I know I liked it when I was a kid, which makes sense. And her going,
stand up straight.
Stand up straight. And he stands up and they all stand up and nobody was a hunchback. Like that would even make sense to be real. That one, you could do that one and you're still not a monster, but they're not even hunchbacks.
Transylvania 5000. This seemed to be a transitional film in a lot of people's careers. But I think because that Michael Richards puppet scene really did make me laugh quite a bit, I can give it a 2.
I'm giving it a 1.75.
So that is a 3.75 for Transylvania 5000.
Of all the planets in the galaxy, they chose ours. They hide in small places.
This phone is dead.
What?
They light the dark.
Jay, any luck?
Just a minute.
There's nothing cute about them. They've come a long way, and they're hungry. Critters. They bite.
The next movie we're discussing is a film called Critters from 1986, directed by Stephen Herrick, written by Stephen Herrick and Dominic Muir, starring Dee Wallace, credited as Dee Wallace Stone, beloved character actor Emmett Walsh, Billy Green Bush, Scott Grimes, cinematography by Tim Sursteet, and the effects here, the creature effects in this movie are by the Chiodo brothers, who directed and did Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a fun camp movie horror that we like quite a bit.
Absolutely. This is an alien film.
This movie's not existing without Gremlins.
No.
If Gremlins did not exist, I don't know if we'd ever get Critters, because they're trying to capitalize on that. And it seemed like everybody else was trying harder to capitalize on Gremlins than the studio who owned Gremlins itself. We had one sequel and that was it. It just seemed like everyone fucking loved Gremlins. It's so weird that all this shit from our childhoods getting drugged back out, these franchises being drug out, but we only ever got 2 Gremlins movies, and they all happened before like 1991. even Gremlins toys you still see on shelves from time to time. I mean, I know a nostalgia is marketed successfully to a lot of millennials, but it just seems like the Gremlin shit, it's just kind of funny how that just kind of came to a dead stop. But I don't know anyone who ever watched Gremlins and was like, I don't like that movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
But Critters, if you're not going to get a lot of Gremlins, we'll give you 5 Critters movies. But we're only going to talk about the first one.
Thank goodness.
America's mom, 80s mom, Dee Wallace, is a Kansas mom. But before we get to Kansas, these beings called the Krites escape from an asteroid prison. So this is also a little bit of E.T. and Alien, and there's a cat named Chewie, so there's a little Star Wars in there as well. Well,
they're not sweet at all, though.
The Krites steal a ship from these beings, and these beings send that kind of look like, the dude kind of looks like a Cenobite, and they send these shape-changing bounty hunters. And one of the bounty hunters watches a video, like a rock video of this guy. And every movie here also has their own song. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't, except American Werewolf in London, I don't think did, but Transylvania 5000 had one. And I guess the guy that the alien bounty hunter transforms into, that's like the song of this movie, right?
Streets are calling, stealing from the light, shadows calling, it's the power of the night. Streets are calling, power of the night.
So he turns into this rock star that everyone knows.
It's like Johnny Steele or something with the hay, got big hair.
So, of course, they come straight to Earth, straight to Kansas, in this quiet town. And we have character actor Emmett Walsh. I like him a lot. He plays the sheriff. Maybe my favorite role of him is in Blood Simple, where he's the guy shooting with Frances McDormand.
Wow, yeah.
We haven't seen that in
It's been a long time.
But whenever we get to movies about states, Blood Simple will come up. Texas, baby.
Hell yeah.
Well, the Krites crash land and they eat a cow, but their ship is discovered by this kid named Brad and Jay, the simple farmhand.
We also get a very young, what's his name? Who's fucking the sister in the barn?
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane is in this movie, and it's that farm, their farm, where the cow gets eaten. One of the things I like the most about this movie is the 2 bounty hunters, and particularly the second one. The first guy stays as this rock star the whole time, but the second guy has like his glowing yellow head even once they land, and the other dude's like, dude, transform, like morph. And he's like
he can't decide or something.
He says, the line he says, which I think is hilarious, is I can't find one that likes me, or I can't find one that will take to me. So he ends up throughout the movie changing into different people that he's standing in front of, which confuses the fuck out of some folks, because at one point they think he's the priest, then they think he's a cop.
He turns into the cop after the dead cop that's killed by the critters, but when he turns into the cop, he looks like the cop after he was killed.
Yeah, you turn into what you're exactly looking at. So he's kind of gray and he's got wounds.
According to Wikipedia here, the bounty hunter that assumes the form of the rock star Johnny Steele is named Ugg.
Oh, okay.
I didn't catch their names at all.
Nope.
Well, the critters are critting around. They're Krites, also called the critters.
Oh, it's Ugg and Lee.
Ugg and Lee.
Ugly. They're ugly.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. Very clever, guys. Very clever, Stephen Herrick and Dominic Muir. Yeah, the Krites are rolling around.
They're like little fuzzballs, but they start getting bigger.
Remember, this is very much an our age range kind of thing, the Popples, where there were these stuffed animals and they had a cartoon as well, I remember, where you could fold them up into a ball. You could fold them up into a plush ball and then unfold them and they'd be like a little...
kind of like roly-polies.
Yeah, they were almost like Care Bears, like in the way that they had these little special things and they were like bunnies and bears. Or
my brother had one that rolled up into a football.
But these are like murder pobbles, essentially.
Yeah, there's nothing nice about these guys, and they let you know from the beginning, but they're not even funny. Like, the critters themselves are not even funny. They are just trying to kill you the whole time, and there's only 8 of them because 2 of them got killed. That doesn't even matter, but there's 8 of them, so you can kind of count down as they actually catch these guys.
They have these barbs that they shoot, and they'll hit people, but when hit you with a toxin. But the toxin doesn't actually seem to, like, kill them. It seems to just disorient them for a little while.
I think it's like when bugs shoot a venom.
Bunny?
What?
Oh. I'm sorry.
When, like, a bug or an animal will shoot their prey with venom to just incapacitate it so they can eat it. I think that's what's happening. Because they are eating people, not all of them, which is wasteful, but as soon as you take the barb out, you wake up. You might be groggy, but you do come out of it.
A lot happens when April sneaks her boyfriend Billy Zane into the barn to go make out. There's a lot going on, like the family's getting attacked by the critters in that span of time. And then the critters kill the boyfriend. But it seemed like they were just making out for like a really long span of time before Billy Zane got killed.
They were, and also she was pursuing him really hard, and he was like, I don't know, your dad is gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's another movie where the guy is like weird, wary of advances. We had that like a few times in the last movie we discussed, and like at that age, I would be like, okay, you could have had me do anything.
I cared more about his, like, I felt like we got to know who he was better than anyone else in this movie, even though he died so soon, because he was from a big city, he was a new kid, he comes over to dinner, he's loving this food that Dee Wallace makes, he's so polite to her.
He doesn't want to leave the parents.
Well, the girl's trying to, like, put her hand on his leg under the table, and he's, like, basically, like, don't do that, and then she's like, okay, we're gonna leave, and mom says something about dessert, and he's like, I mean, like, he wants to stay and have dinner with this family.
So it's the Kreitz versus the Browns, and Dee Wallace has a pretty cool scene where she's holding them off, but she gets hit with a barb, right?
Oh, yeah, she's got the gun. She is leading the charge. The guy gets injured really quickly, the dad.
Brad talks his dad into letting him just take off on his bike to go get help, and when Brad does, that's when he encounters the bounty hunters. And the bounty hunters also kind of cause a little havoc. They're not trying to hurt people. They're just trying to find the Kreitz.
Well, I don't know, because when they're dispatched, their leader, the Cenobite guy, he says to them, try not to cause too much damage this time.
Oh, yeah.
So they just don't care. It's not that they're not trying to hurt anyone. They're just like, if you get in our way, we're going to do what we have to do to get around you.
So Brad encounters them. They've stolen a cop car from the sheriff at this point. And then Brad leads them towards where the Kreitz are. And then they're just blasting like everything in sight. Brad fucks around with firecrackers and shit all the time. And the critters, one gets really big, right?
Huge.
They do kill a lot off, but one is huge. And he kidnaps the sister. I don't know why he just doesn't eat the sister, but
they're going to take her back with them. They need food for the ride.
Brad and the farmhand managed to pull the sister out, and Brad throws a fire, like a stick of dynamite in there, and a Molotov cocktail right as they start to take off. Mm-hmm. They tried to make the critters be a little hijinksy like the Gremlins, but it wasn't as fun or cool.
No, not at all.
But one funny thing that they did was that they made them pretty petty, because as they're flying off, they stop and just blow up the farmhouse.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they want to escape, but they're like, hold on. These fuckers over here blow up that fucking farmhouse, and they do. But their ship explodes because one stick of dynamite and a Molotov cocktail is enough to blow up a spaceship that can travel through the stars.
There's this cute moment between Brad and the bounty hunter, Johnny Steele. I love their interaction, actually. That's one of the best to me after the Billy Zane thing at dinner.
That's a little bit of the E.T. there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and even when they're in the car, like them figuring out how to communicate with each other and that they're on the same side and all of that, they go over and the bounty hunter does something and their house rebuilds itself.
They're magic. They can do anything. The house that just got blown up is magically rebuilt.
To the point of the curtains are in the windows. Like
the flower pots hanging.
Magically perfect. Probably more perfect than it was because they were shooting critters inside of their house all night.
It seemed like maybe what they were doing to kill the critters seems a little rudimentary considering they could just magically reverse time and build a house or whatever the fuck they did.
Well, true, but they just needed to explode those guys. But then they give the kid a little calm and the guy goes, "Call me." Which basically, I'm assuming would lead into
He's
the
a
next
pedophile.
Movie.
Alien pedo.
I don't
Grooming
think
him.
so. No.
Groomer. This movie cost $3 million, made $13 million. A young Leonardo DiCaprio is in one of the sequels. I can't remember which one.
Apparently, he won't talk about it.
Sometimes actors really don't want to talk about that. I mean, it seems a little uptight, but then you got to imagine how many of the same questions these people are getting over and over. Because George Clooney won't talk about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and he was in that. You can't, you know, there's only so much you could say about that shit, right?
Sure.
But yeah, so this movie made $13 million. It did make money off of that Gremlins heat. And who knows, maybe we'll get to the other movies. But I gotta say, I wasn't like incredibly impressed with this.
No, I didn't actually like this one very much.
No, so that's why I'm giving it like a 2.25.
I am just a 2.
Okay, so a 4.25 for the film Critters. And it was campy. It was campy. A lot of camp. And we continue with the camp.
A little horny. Tiny bit.
A little horny.
The daughter was horny.
Yeah, there's at least a horny person in all of these movies.
Yes.
It should have been the happiest moment of their lives, the night they came home to be married at the house of Great Aunt Kate. But it turned into a haunted honeymoon.
I know that one of you is a werewolf. Hairy. All over.
Someone or something is trying to scare them to death.
Now, if anything frightens you, anything at all, you just holler.
Holy baloney, here we go again.
I just found Cousin Francis in my bed.
Was he wearing a dress?
Yes, he was.
Just ask him to leave, sir. Tell him you have a headache.
Whatever happens,
Who knows if any of us shall ever see the morning.
they have to be ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready! 1, 2.
Spread your loving arms, clear out of space.
Beat it while you're still healthy.
You do the eagle rock with style and grace.
Yes, sir. It's the biggest thrill of my life.
You put your left foot out
Now, you'd think this would frighten me.
and bring it back.
It's not what you think.
And that's what we call for the jack.
Well, it's partly what you think, but wait. Oh, wait.
Starring Gene
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wilder, Gilda Radner,
Larry. Oh, this thing's pinching my butt.
and Dom DeLuise in his most demanding role.
Oh, it's so complicated.
Haunted Honeymoon.
A movie that didn't quite, make money is one directed by a Mr. Gene Wilder.
Directing himself.
Directing himself and his wife, Gilda Radner. We're talking about the film Haunted Honeymoon, directed by Gene Wilder, written by him and Terrence Marsh, produced by Susan Ruskin. We all love to name the producers. Who's your favorite producer? Is it Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, God.
Starring Gene, Gilda Radner, Dom DeLuise, Jonathan Pryce, Paul L. Smith, cinematography by Fred Schuler. I will say, this movie and how, the jokes seem to not work or the timing was a little awkward has similar problems that Transylvania 65000 has, but this movie did look better than Transylvania 65000. And apparently, Gene wanted to make a movie that felt very throwback, like the old Dark House, like the early James Whale movies, and like a movie from the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was going for, particularly. Also, this was Gilda Radner's last performance. She would pass away. And her and Gene met on the scene on the movie Hanky Panky. Everyone remembers that movie,
no,
Hanky
never
Panky.
saw that one.
No, I don't. No one ever talks about it. But that's where Gene Wilder met Gilda Radner. So it is cool to watch them. You know, like, because I do like them and I like Dom DeLuise, but I can't say this movie is very good. But there is a man we see at the very beginning dressed as a lady and is seen murdered.
It's not what you think. Ugh. Well, it's partly what you think, but, oh, it's so complicated. Ugh.
And from there, we go to old-time radio stars Larry and Vicky. And they're getting married at Larry Abbott's childhood hang, his aunt's palatial castle estate.
And the reason they're going there is because it's his aunt's home. But he has this uncle who, the producer of their radio show, is going to fire Larry because he keeps freaking out on live air and laughing and getting hysterical and sometimes crying. And his uncle is this psychologist or something. And he says, I can cure him because I have to scare him to death.
Uncle Paul.
So this is the perfect opportunity at this wedding, at this scary house. I will cure him. And the wife does not know. Gilda Radner, the fiance, is not in on it, which is smart. She's not in on it until she needs to be.
But there's also actual murders going on and something to do with a will or something, right?
Yes, the aunt has redone her will so that Larry's going to get everything. But if Larry dies, it'll still be divided by everyone. And I love the introductions in this movie really do feel... I like that you said...
The old dark house.
The old dark house. Because they really take time as every character comes in to introduce us to them, to make sure we understand like where they belong in this family, but not to the point where they explain everything, because you're still like, what the fuck is going on? Because his cousin's girlfriend is jumping on him and kissing all over his face.
Yeah.
They have to stay in separate bedrooms because it's like what's proper.
Right. The cousin is played by Jonathan Pryce, who we last discussed in the movie Brazil.
He's pretty great.
A bona fide S-tier classic.
I did want to comment on what you said about, the timing being off. And yes, and you're right, it does look better. I also think it's just a more charming movie. There's no charm to Transylvania 65000.
Yeah.
This is charming, if for no other reason than the people who are involved in the setting.
But there's a lot of things that just don't make sense to me in this movie.
That's true.
Number one is like this emotional connection between Larry and this massive estate. It's like...
He grew up there.
I know, but it didn't seem like he fit there.
No.
And he has a flashback later in the movie when he's thrown into a casket where we discover that his mother was getting married in this place and gets struck by lightning.
And that's why he's getting nervous ahead of the wedding.
I would just pick another venue, man. Like, if your mother fucking died there.
I think because we had that flashback, he may have completely repressed that memory.
Ugh.
He knows it happened because his aunt raised him. His mom was dead. But I think he maybe didn't remember it until that moment when he was, quote unquote, scared to death in a casket. They're all in on it, right? In on this trying to scare him to death. But there's also this...
I gotta be honest, that really kind of, I forgot completely about that. That people are trying to scare him.
Yeah.
Because there is like also a murderer.
There's a murder. So basically, the person who murdered the man in the dress at the beginning, we do come back to that dead body. He's kind of floating around and getting moved around. There's someone dressed up like a werewolf, and the aunt is really scared of werewolves. She's always apparently said there were werewolves around.
The way she declares that she did, it's so awkward. The way she just openly was like, "Oh, by the way, I saw a werewolf."
I know that one of you is a werewolf.
I saw you in the garden this afternoon.
And alludes that it's got to be a family member that is
Oh, she
the
doesn't
werewolf.
allude it. She straight up says,
Of course, I'm only speaking to the Abbott family.
I mean, this is a comedy, and it seems like that is a comedic moment. But Dom DeLuise plays Kate Abbott, the great aunt, the matriarch of all this, and
the star of this movie.
And I read that Gene wanted Dom to play it as straight as possible, meaning he didn't want a bunch of wink jokes like I'm actually a man kind of jokes.
Sure.
But because Dom plays it so straight, I feel like it comes off so awkward. Like there's a way you can be comedic without it being like, oh, I'm secretly a man. Like you could still be funny. So because Dom plays that role pretty much straight for the most part, that the only joke that character really provides, even though they're not winking at it, is that it's just Dom DeLuise in drag. Like that is the joke, that this is Dom DeLuise and he's dressed like a lady, even though he's not leaning into that, because there's no humor really coming from his character. That's really the joke that seems to, like, it's weird. It's weird.
I agree with you. They do address the nephew likes to dress up like her. That's who gets killed at the beginning. She talks about him. This part really was very odd to me for all the reasons you just said, but also Dom DeLuise very seriously is talking about how he doesn't say it in so many words, but this nephew is weird because he likes to dress up like a lady. And this is being said by a man who's dressed up like a lady. And there is something missing in that scene. Like, it's not funny. Like, I actually was like, ew, kind of, because it's like, where's the joke? You need a little wink at the camera. That's what I'm saying. Like, you need a little wink, because otherwise it just seems like, what are you fucking trying to do? But I did think Dom DeLuise was lovely in this movie. He made me laugh probably more than anyone else, even though he was playing it straight, because he was so dramatic and over the top.
When Aunt Kate and Gilda Radner do the dance when they meet.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
That's one of the few times in which Dom DeLuise's character does play something up for laughs.
I really did love that.
And that's so that definitely is like throwback 30s, 40s.
Spread your loving arms, clear out of space. You do the eagle rock with style and grace. You put your left foot out and bring it back. And that's what we call for the jack.
Farcical.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a floor show in the middle of the living room. Routine. Just met, but no choreography together. It was great.
So we got Cousin Charles, played by Jonathan Pryce, as Mink's wife, who once loved Larry, Fister, the butler, and Uncle Paul, the psychologist. And there is a werewolf guy around, and we know it's a disguise. Again, there's no real monsters in this one, similar to Transylvania. But people are getting killed, and werewolf guy does get killed and get his mask stolen.
And they know it has to be one of these people. Well, we know it has to be one of these people, but they don't know yet that real murders are happening.
Now, you could chalk up what I'm going to ask here as just a simple absurdity, like a classic style movie absurdity. Like when we're watching something like Bringing Up Baby, it's a movie we really like, that like if you really got down to the brass tacks of why anything is being said and done is absurd. But this scene still stands out because it's not like this movie is like, there is absurd moments, but they're not like, it's not a relentless attack of absurdity. But when he's laying in his bed and he sees a guy walking on his wall and he's wearing this mask, but Gene thinks he's real. And Gene feels this guy's face for an extended period of time. You figured you'd feel that it's a rubber mask.
Well, that kind of grossed me out because he's sticking his fingers in his nose and his ears, his mouth.
And I get the absurdity here, but like this is the only time we literally see someone define the laws of physics and gravity.
Oh, I think I have an answer for this.
Okay.
Well, what I assumed is one of the husband of one of his sisters or whatever is a magician, like an illusionist. So I just figured he did some kind of thing.
Magic.
Like some kind of, like he knew how to rig it so he could walk down the wall, because he does find that mask again later, right? That was weird, And for a second, I thought they were going to make that part a figment of his imagination. I think it would have been more interesting if we didn't know the line between what he was imagining and what was really happening. And they kind of tried to do that at one point, and it was confusing because there's this part where after that, they get Gilda Radner in on it, and she's in her wedding dress, and she's calling to Larry, Larry, and he goes out, and there's this weird part where everything, I mean, there's things happening that he figures out later, but like everything gets really hazy and warbly. And why would that happen unless they gave him like LSD or something? Like, I don't understand that part.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, well, maybe he is kind of dreaming, or maybe they drugged him, but that never comes back around to be a thing that happened.
Yeah. It's so awkward. Like, I totally forgot that they were trying to scare him.
Yeah, because
I'm like in the middle of the movie forgetting that.
Yeah. Well, they don't really call... They call back to it when they've got Gilda Radner hung up on the tree, and she's like... That was funny. She's just, like, going back and forth, and Jonathan Pryce, it's just the two of them, and he's at the window like, hold still, and she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, you know, and she's so silly in this, but I don't know, I just love her.
Gene Wilder gets bonked and buried in a coffin, and there's a dog running around that is pawing to get him out. We see Cousin Charles wrestling with Vicky, and then Gene shows up in this classic fight scene that looks like an Errol Flynn fighting scene or something.
I actually thought it was kind of cool, and I think I said this while we were watching it, because you see the aunt pick up the shovel and put it into the dirt, so you know she's going to get him out, right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing is he runs in and saves his girl. And I kind of thought that was neat, because they didn't make us watch every second of that.
I was a little over analytical of the fight scene too, where like, did we need to see the fight through the railing?
No.
But again, he is trying to emulate movies he saw in the 30s. And all those movies in the 30s are almost all experimental because they're all trying to figure out their shit coming out of the silent era, right?
That movie that you were talking about,
The Old Dark House.
The Old Dark House literally has
true.
Fight scene on the stairwell.
Yeah, that's true. This movie is like the most like that, but Old Dark House is funnier and better. But strange, much like this one.
They even have a little woman, Pfister's wife is very much like the Uda character that was in all of the Bride of Frankenstein.
Very beady-eyed.
Everything. Yeah. She was great.
Everything is revealed that nothing is really a monster or anything like that. But it turns out it was all just a radio show the whole time. And then they all drive off, but then a real werewolf appears at the end.
Oh, yeah.
So keep on the lookout for the sequel to Haunted Honeymoon.
There's real werewolves.
I think I can only go as far as in the middle, though. 2.5 for me.
I'm giving it a 2.75.
All right.
Because I thought it was just that little extra.
5.25 for Haunted Honeymoon.
Ooh.
It's always good to see Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner. Rest in peace, King and Queen.
Elvira.
Hello, darling. It's me again, yours truly, Elvira. The gal with the enormous, ratings. Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did. Oh, boy, I mean, could you believe that cheesy-looking monster? Looked like Gumby on steroids.
This Elvira is a person of easy virtue. Slimy, slithering succubus. A concubine, a streetwalker, a tramp.
Listen, sister, if that was your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. I hope you're hungry, because here's dinner.
What's that perfume you're wearing?
Super unleaded, don't smoke.
The charge. Witchcraft.
You looking for me?
Transylvania 65000 seemed like and Haunted Honeymoon seem like throwback camp. Haunted Honeymoon definitely more throwback. And Transylvania 65000, a little throwbacky, but like more awkward, right? But I think what I like about this next movie we're talking about is that it's pure camp, but almost exactly at its right time. Like, it's camp that is fresh if you were existing in 1988. And we're talking about the movie, which I've never seen this movie except but in parts throughout my life. Maybe catching like the last 20 minutes on cable when I was a kid. But we're watching Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, directed by James Signorelli, written by Sam Egan, John Paragon, Cassandra Peterson, starring Cassandra Peterson, Morgan Shepherd, Daniel Green, Jeff Conaway. All these movies have great character actors. The best one in here is Edie McClurg.
Oh, yes.
Who is who you'll remember as the assistant principal in Ferris Bueller and tons of shit.
She's been in so much.
And she's actually on the movie poster for this.
Oh yeah, because she plays Chastity Pariah. Chastity Pariah, who's definitely against Elvira. So this movie, I cannot believe I haven't seen this movie. There were so many moments watching this where they said things that I have heard drag queens say for years, and I knew some of it came from this, like, how's your head? Haven't had any complaints yet. That's a huge one. Like, because the idea is that you say it, and if the other person can answer you, they're cool. You know, like they know that they know it.
There's definitely a straight line between this movie and drag camp. But I think what's so fascinating about Elvira is when I'm remembering Elvira as a kid, I didn't connect it towards that greater world, because Elvira was essentially from a time where regional television stations would have someone hosting like B-movie horror blocks late at night. And actually, Elvira, the OG one was Vampira from Los Angeles. They wanted to revise the Vampira show, and there was another guy that followed up Vampira over the years in the Los Angeles area. The host was called Sinister Seymour, and they wanted to replace him. And they were thinking about bringing back Vampira, but she was getting a little old, and she wanted a specific stage actress to replace her. But they decided to go for Cassandra Peterson, who developed this character when she was in the Groundlings, and who was like this valley girl, and then they gothed her up, essentially, and then Elvira was born, and Elvira, Vampira, Elvira, that legacy... I don't think in the Nashville area in which we grew up with that, I don't recall there being like a regional horror creepy host that introed B movies. We had, in basic cable, we had Up All Night, where it was Rhonda Shear and later Gilbert Gottfried would intro like B movies that were essentially softcore, heavily edited softcore porn, or like trauma movies and shit like that.
But I knew who Elvira was, and you would see the stand-up sometimes, because I learned something interesting. I was listening to an interview with her today, and she did create this character. It was very much she thought it was going to be just a couple weeks gig when it started, and they didn't pay her barely any money at all, right? And as she would progress in her career, they would want her to do more, but they wouldn't want to give her more money. So she and her husband, who was her manager, they basically said, okay, well, you can pay me the same, but I want rights to this. And every time it happened, okay, well, I want rights to make t-shirts. Okay, I want rights to make dolls. Like, I want rights to make this. Until at some point, she owned everything.
Yeah.
And that's like how she like built her whole deal.
But the lady who played Vampira hated her.
Oh, yeah?
Fucking hated her. She took that Vampira role very seriously.
Oh, sure.
And when it didn't get properly revised in the way that she wanted, she basically she just looked at Cassandra Peterson as like a whore, basically, trouncing on a legacy, when Vampira is essentially just ripped from Morticia Addams to begin with. But so Cassandra Peterson alludes, and I want to read her book too.
I do too.
Where she alludes that throughout her career, she tried to sue her multiple times. At one point, didn't even show up to the court, even though she kept saying Cassandra Peterson alleged that she had sent goons after her at conventions where she was shoved at one point. It's hard to say if Vampira, who was Mela Nurmi was her name, It's hard to say if Maitland Irby was really hiring hitmen, but what it probably was just fucking old school horror nerds, like dying on a hill that they had no business dying on, and going and harassing Cassandra Peterson, who frankly became way more successful than Vampira truly did. But also it was just a different world as basic cable was coming up. And when I encountered Vampira, I didn't have that connection to B horror. I mean, I get that she was like a goth, maybe a vampire lady. That's what I thought. But she was also like a poster on boys' walls. Like you could see an image of Vampira with her tits out, like on like, you know, like a dude's
Vampira?
Or Elvira.
Okay.
Like a poster of Elvira, like some dude's man cave. Like she was just not just this B movie thing, but a lot of dudes who weren't from the Los Angeles area just was like, oh, this is a hot fucking vampire lady.
Yeah.
And I'm a blue collar horny dude and I'm going to put her poster on my beer fridge, you know, shit like that. And that's essentially how I interpreted it. I didn't really know much more beyond that, but her history, she grew up in Kansas, actually danced in like bathhouses and gay clubs, go-go dancing. So she was actually in that gay culture.
Yeah.
She was in and around that gay subculture for a while. Went and lived in Italy and had like a bit cameo part in Fellini's Roma.
Oh, wow.
And then was in like bands and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then so she actually lived like this incredibly full life and always had that connection with gay culture in her life.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's performed in many of the same places that drag queens still perform to this day. She's had these shows with like gay backup male dancers and she's singing and she's laying on pianos.
Yeah.
And she is a drag queen. She
Yeah.
says she's a drag queen. She is a drag queen. Drag queens are not just anything. Anyone who's doing this, when she puts on Elvira, she is putting on drag.
When she developed her character in The Groundlings, that drag culture was definitely a huge influence on her. I don't know. I just think she's kind of cool. And all due respect to Vampira's legacy, she seemed a little too serious.
Well, here's the thing. Vampira did Vampira's thing. Vampira retired. As far as I'm concerned, she doesn't get to have an opinion on what Elvira is doing because Elvira is her own character. She's doing her own thing that is different.
It wasn't Elvira's fault that you see your character being diminished.
And everyone forever has said, you know, Elvira stole her gig from Vampira, from Morticia, from, you know, Lily, like all of this. But you know, her thing is that she's just like a goth rocker chick.
Yeah, she always liked horror and stuff.
Yeah, oh, she still does. Like, she's one of those people who's like, Halloween is all year round.
74 years old.
She's gorgeous, too. If you haven't seen a picture of her lately, look her up. She's beautiful. This movie premise could be taken out of real life to a point. You know, she's working in a dive bar. She's not making that much money. She wants to go start a show in Vegas. She doesn't have enough money to do that because they need her to put up part of it to produce the show, which she produced so much of her own stuff.
She needs $50,000.
And she gets this letter that says, oh, your great aunt died and you have an inheritance.
And she grew up in an orphanage, too.
Yes, she grew up in an orphanage. And she goes up to Massachusetts.
Falwell, Massachusetts, a very uptight, puritanical town.
She goes and meets her uncle, who immediately, you know, he's a bad dude. And they read the will, and the uncle gets nothing. She gets the house and a recipe book.
She complains about the house when it's like, I almost called her Vampira, Elvira. You can just sell the house, which she does come to that conclusion.
Yes, and I think that's the thing is just cold hard cash would have just been easier, and that's why she's complaining. And she has this recipe book, but she doesn't look at it. Interesting fact. She also, at this moment, a cookbook out. So if you like Elvira, go buy her actual cookbook. She also has a children's book called Elvira's First Monsters.
Her aunt has a poodle named Algonquin, which she acquires.
She calls him Gonk.
Gonk.
And she gives him a makeover.
Now, look, I know that I accuse too many characters in movies of being autistic. Is the autistic comparisons out in the world way overdone at this point? Yeah. Yes. But I think Elvira is kind of autistic because you think about it. She's doing her own thing in a very specific way. She makes her one-liners her jokes. but she's not really fazed by how people are reacting to her.
Oh, no.
And she is always going to be straightforward herself. If you get along with Elvira and connect with her, then no problem if you meet her on her level. But if you are confused by her, like, it doesn't faze her one way, and she's not going to change any of that.
I think you're confusing autism with confidence. She is so comfortable in her skin and who she is that she doesn't give a fuck what you think about her.
Maybe but she's not like...
And she's funny, but she's self-possessed. Like, I think she knows what she's doing every second.
I guess I just see autistic people as very strong in a sense.
Well, sure.
Maybe,
I mean,
in a way.
You know...
There's different levels, of course.
Sure. But again,
she's
people
soft,
be talking about autism way too much.
You're right.
Everyone is a little bit autistic. I think
must be the vaccine. It must be the vaccines.
You could analyze. I believe you could analyze any person and make an argument for autism.
If you inject bear blood into your veins, it takes out the vaccines that are given the autism.
That's my RFK.
Oh yeah, that's
Junior
good.
voice.
That's good. What's your voice for the worm in his brain?
Hi, I'm Norman. Hello.
I can't. Every time I think of him, I think of that.
Hey, Bobby.
So she has this amazing house, and you know this part is a little kind of weird, and probably wouldn't be done today. She becomes friends with all the local children, and they're teenagers, but still, they're kids.
They paint her house great.
Her house. I would love her.
That house is presented in a way that's supposed to be like. Normal people wouldn't want their house like that.
And they're scared to show her because they think she's not going to like it.
I consider myself normal.
It's fabulous.
And I loved the way that house looked.
I did to your being normal, but no one's normal. And I love that house as well. I think we're a little more eccentric in our design aesthetic than normal.
There's 2 goons in this movie. Allow me to nerd out for a second. There's 2 goons in this movie that are sent by her uncle to harass her throughout the movie.
He wants the recipe book because it's actually a spell book.
Yeah, she doesn't know that, and
Her
the dog
aunt is a witch.
and the dog is hiding it for her because she's trying to sell it for $50, but the dog keeps hiding it.
Gonk was her great aunt's familiar.
These 2 goons, they're in this diner, and one is reading a comic book.
They must think we're really stupid. They're gonna kill Spider-Man with plutonium. He's got radioactive blood.
The comic book they're reading is, let me just nerd.
They're at the bowling alley.
Whatever.
It's kind of a thing.
The comic book is Amazing Spider-Man number 298. This issue of Amazing Spider-Man features a cameo appearance of the character Eddie Brock. And in issue number 300 is the first full body appearance of the character Venom. Or was it at the end of 299? I can't remember.
I don't know. You better get it right. Somebody's going to come for you.
Yeah, really. One of the first comics that alludes to the existence of the character of Venom, a very popular now comic book character. I mean, his first full body appearance is definitely worth a lot more. But this comic is worth around $75 today. Mm-hmm. And the character takes his friend's comic book and rips it in half.
They didn't know.
So in my nerd brain, I'm watching this guy rip $75 in half. Nerd! The comic literally came out that year.
Yeah.
They just went to the spinner rack at the grocery store. Hey, I'll pull off this Spider-Man comic. And that thing is like $75 now.
I personally think that the fact that it was the comic that was ripped up in this movie makes it even more valuable.
Oh, yeah. Like if that torn up, this was torn up in Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yup.
So we talked about Edie McClurg, who's, what was her name again?
Chastity Pariah.
Pariah, who's kind of the leader of the uptight town, like that town from Footloose, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And she apparently came up in the Groundlings with Cassandra Peterson.
Sure.
In the improv troupe. There's also a lady with, well, we find out her tits are fake later, who's insanely jealous of her, even though she's got a man, and that man is not trying to chase Elvira. The only people that are...
No, she wants the man that Elvira fucks.
Oh, I thought she had a man,
No,
though.
that's the man she wants.
Oh.
Because someone looks over, as soon as Elvira gets with this, like, dumb hunk guy, someone says to the lady who, like, owns the bowling alley or whatever, says, like, looks like you got some competition, and she immediately hates her.
I get that guy that is the love interest is probably just, like, that era's version of a good-looking guy.
Sure.
But it seemed like that Elvira would probably go for a different type. I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but also I love this character because Elvira's horny, but she's not giving it away. She's got standards.
You know, I think him being so, like, quote unquote normal, that's very smart because that gives normal dudes the idea that they could hit it.
Yeah. Well, I was definitely felt like a lot of the teenage boys where they're like looking at her ass. Yeah, I mean, you can't take your eyes off of her, no doubt. But yeah, her Uncle Talbot is secretly a warlock.
Yes.
And he wants the spells. And she makes she's going to cook something for this guy. Which is, it's really goofy. It's super campy. But she makes something from the book from all the herbs that her aunt keeps in the cabinet.
I love this because
You figured the uncle would take all of those, by the way.
Well, he probably has his own. And he's not trying to probably make that thing. He needs the book for one particular spell, I guess, because something's going to happen at the stroke of midnight when there's a full moon on this day in like a week. And so he's got to get it before then. Once she realizes what she has, she doesn't give it to him. But they premise this that she knows so little about cooking that these words that make no sense, she's just pulling shit out, like worms, out of the cabinets and putting it in. Things are bubbling and boiling. I love when she is like, "Oh, this is disgusting," and she takes a can of Cheese Whiz and like puts it all over there, and then she sits on a bag of chips and then spreads that all over. You know, there's some guys who get hard on her sitting on that bag of chips. Those guys who like
farting on the chips,
or like you to squish balloons and cakes and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gives it to him, and they can't eat it because
it turns into a fucking monster. But eventually, it settles down. They trap it.
Well, they trap it and then they put it in the disposal.
Right, but they make another dish.
Yeah,
they make it again. It's a love potion.
She makes it again. I think you know, the first one, she just like poured a bunch of extra shit.
Oh, you
so
think
I think
she accidentally
just like kind of
made the
went crazy
monster.
with it. And then when she was like, I'm going to do the recipe and take it to this potluck to get back at all these people.
She expected a monster to come out of this and attack everyone, but what she made was a love potion. Mm-hmm. And this shit looks nasty, but everyone's loving it. So this very puritanical, I forget what the society is called.
They're like against fun.
The morality club. And they eat this shit, and then they all basically start getting into like a soft orgy.
There's this part where a man is laying on the ground, and Edie McClure walks up and goes,
"Is this face?"
Sits
or
on his
like,
face.
Yeah, or is this face available or something? And she sits on his face. They're all taking their clothes off. All these like uptight people are like fucking but probably you don't see the actual fucking, but they're getting naked.
Things start coming to a head, and the town is mad at Elvira. She did dose everyone.
And the uncle convinces him that she's a witch.
Yeah,
because of it.
And the dog can shapeshift too. It's like a familiar. So you kind of wonder why the dog just doesn't stay the big dangerous dog or turn into a flying creature or like a lion or something.
He turns into things when it's needed. Absolutely.
Long story short,
they're going to burn her at the stake.
They're going to burn her at the stake because of some rules left over from Salem days, like from 1695, that allow her to be burned alive. It's legal. It's a law that's been on the books since before the country ever had a constitution or anything like that.
They're basically chanting, "Kill the witch."
Kill the witch.
She has this magic ring that her mother gave her. Oh my God, when they show her as a baby.
Oh yeah,
she has full face makeup on this child, but you can tell that they were obviously putting makeup on this child that was safe because it didn't look, I mean, it didn't look that good. It looked like she was colored with crayons.
Yeah, well, I didn't assume they were putting like the shit they put on the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz.
Well, no, but they're not even putting like what Elvira's wearing on this baby. I'm just saying they're putting it, whatever. But this baby has all this makeup on and she has this little ring and she realizes that this ring is magic and the uncle had gotten it, but then she gets it back and she like puts her hand up like this to the sky and she like makes a rainstorm start, which puts out the fire, and then the man comes in.
All the kids love Elvira,
Yes.
and they're all helping her throughout this.
And everyone has like more confidence for knowing her. The little girl who's like super repressed by her parents is like doing her hair and wearing makeup and getting a boyfriend, and it's all really lovely.
When the smoke clears and the rain stops, the town approaches Elvira and was like, sorry, we didn't know he was an evil warlock.
We like you now.
We like you. She doesn't get her money because the house burns up during the fight. But the town does accept her and apologizes. And I think everyone's starting to get together to help her rebuild the house. At the end.
They come up with like hammers and stuff again, I think.
Oh, before I give the rating to this, when she's traveling towards Falwell, Massachusetts, she stops at this gas station. There's this, again, each movie has an original song. Yeah. And there's this song early in the movie called Chicken Fried Steak, like this fake country song. And I'm going to play it. I actually found it before I recorded this so I could reference it. But yeah, there's a song called Chicken Fried Steak that plays in this movie, and I'm obsessed with it.
If there ever comes a time I get my gun and I go wrong, and the judge says I must die cause the jury wants me gone, I go inside and order up some chicken fried steak. Chicken fried steak, oh, chicken fried steak. Taters and gravy and peas on a plate. Bring me orders, don't make no mistakes. There ain't nothing better than chicken fried steak.
This movie cost $7.5 million.
Oh, she gets to Vegas.
But we see
the show.
But it only made $5.5 million. Aww. Which kind of sucks, and that kind of plateaued the Elvira career. I mean, Cassandra Peterson would go on to conventions and stuff and still be able to, I think, make her living.
She has made a very good living
off of this character.
Yeah.
But it is kind of unfortunate that this particular movie didn't make its budget, because this movie is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Apparently it was nominated for a Razzie Awards.
Sure.
Unfounded.
It's
not that bad.
Good.
This movie is a camp movie.
They probably just wanted her to come to the Razzie Awards.
Maybe. I don't know.
I really liked it. I will watch this movie again. I think it's so much fun. Like I said, it's so referential to a lot of things that I am into now, and I didn't even realize how much.
And I think the one-liners, which there's tons of one-liners in a lot of these movies, I think the one-liners and the way her humor works is actually pretty funny.
It is, and I love that even if no one around her gets it, she's having a fucking great time.
This is why I kind of accuse her of being autistic.
I know, but I love her. Also, the hottest mullet in the world on this woman.
Yeah.
I love her. I love that she also had this like dream where she was like full makeup and like looked so like whatever, but then she wakes up in reality and she's got like a rock t-shirt on and her hair like kind of pinned up, and I loved that. She still had makeup on, but I don't know, I love her so much. And you know, she has made a career off of this because people love her wherever she goes. She does definitely do the conventions, she does shows, she performs in like Provincetown, like she does all this stuff, but yeah, she's so beloved. The
image of her alone is iconic. But for this movie, I think this is a worthy 80s camp. Better than the heavier camp movies we've discussed so far. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it a 3.25.
I'm giving it a 4.
A 4?
Yeah, so I loved it.
7.25 for Elvira, Mistress of the Dog.
Mistress.
All Tom Hanks wanted was a quiet vacation at home.
This is what I need, Carol. I need this.
Welcome to Mayfield Place. A typical street in the Burbs.
Morning, Walter!
Where nothing much ever happened.
Walter's dog just took a dump on Rumsfield's lawn again.
Until the Klopeks moved in.
Klopeks?
Klopeks. Klopek. No one goes in, no one comes out.
Neighbors from hell.
It was a nice place to live.
He said he thinks the Klopeks are evil incarnate.
Well, you're much too smart to fall for that, aren't you, honey?
But now...
Carol!
You wouldn't want to visit there.
Ray, this is Walter.
The Burbs.
I'm going over the fence, and I'm not coming back till I find a dead body.
You want him to take your family, kidnap them, tear their livers out, and make some kind of satanic pate? We found Walter!
We got a real problem.
I hit the gas line, I'd run!
God, I love this street.
Tom Hanks.
I think we are overreacting.
No. The Burbs. It's one hell of a neighborhood.
Hey, honey, I think we should move.
For our final movie discussion, horror, comedy, camp. This one is not as sexy as all the rest, but Carrie Fisher in that little cherry dress was looking all right.
That was cute. And the little lady across the street that's married to Bruce Dern.
Oh, yeah.
She's, you know.
Oh, there's some horniness here.
There's a part where she's doing gardening in this outfit where you feel like you can see everything.
We're talking about the movie. We mentioned Joe Dante earlier. We like his movies. We think he's a lot of fun. Joe Dante's The Burbs from 1989, directed by Joe Dante, written by Dana Olson, starring Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, Rick Ducommun, Corey Feldman, a young Corey Feldman. All of these movies have amazing character actors.
Yeah.
No less here than, the one and only, the King, Henry Gibson as Dr. Klopek.
Oh my God, we got so excited.
Who you'll remember as the Hal Philip Walker in the movie Nashville.
Bob.
Yes, sir.
What did you say the piano player's name was?
Frog.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for a frog. Who was it? Dog or frog?
When I ask for pig, I want pig. Now you get me pig, and then we'll be ready to record this here tune.
Yes, sir.
You get your hair cut. You don't belong in Nashville.
Frog was on the piano. He didn't want frog. He wanted
pig.
I forget the animal that he really wanted. Anyway, watch Nashville. Classic
so
movie.
Good.
And that's the best role Henry Gibson ever played was Hal Philip Walker
yeah.
in Nashville. But yeah, so if anything, I feel like all of our favorite character actors, short of like Harry Dean Stanton and shit, are in all of these movies. You know?
Which I think really weighs out the fact that most of them don't have real monsters in them.
Now, this is 80s Tom Hanks. This is a couple this movie, his previous two movies were Big and Punchline. Big was his biggest movie to date. Yes. He had come out of doing sitcoms. He was on Bosom Buddies and was doing like raunchy comedies like Bachelor Party. And yeah, his movies were succeeding. And when Big hit, that was like, okay, this guy is a movie star.
I watched that movie so many times. That could also go in movies that were influential on you as a child. Also, sorry, but Punchline is the movie that taught me the fabulous joke, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 ain't 9. That's in that movie.
Watching Tom Hanks in this movie, in early days, Tom Hanks had these particular tropes. The things that he did as a character and any of his characters, and that was early on. And it would change going into the 90s when he started playing in serious movies like Philadelphia,
he got more
Castaway.
Serious. He became our dad.
He's a little bit funny in Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was almost like a combination of his serious roles and his 80s roles in a way. But Tom Hanks would flip out and yell. Like, there was something about 80s Tom Hanks that in each of his movies, he would just have this yelling fit. Like, I can easily imagine Tom Hanks yelling, something like that, right? And he was also very physical back in these days, too. And for this movie in The Burbs, I felt like I kind of questioned the whys of a lot of his physical turns and his expressions. Like, it was almost a little too much. Except near the end, after the house blows up and he walks out. I actually think his physical comedy there is actually pretty fantastic. But also forgot another amazing character actor in this movie, The Burbs, Dick Miller, who's in every Joe Dante movie. He's the neighbor in Gremlins, and he runs the occult store in The Howling.
He names the Gremlins Gremlins.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
He's the garbage man in this one.
Yes.
So what's the premise of The Burbs? A movie, by the way, I loved as a kid and watched a lot. So actually I have like a pretty decent emotional tether to this movie.
The premise of The Burbs is that this little cul-de-sac has had a new person move in right next to Tom Hanks across the street from Bruce Dern. They haven't come out of their house. No one sees them. The house is decrepit. and there's like no front lawn. And these are the kind of people who they water their lawns, they mow their lawns. Their biggest problem is that the guy down the street has trained his dog to shit in Bruce Dern's yard. But it's like they're too into each other's business. And it starts out, Tom Hanks has a week of vacation. His wife says, let's go to the lake. And he says, no, I just want to be at home, which I understand.
Yeah, this is very common for working class folk. They spend their vacation at home.
Or they go to the same exact place, which I think was probably the lake. So he wants to stay home. And so he just starts he's interested in the neighbors, but his friend down the street,
there's things happening in the basement glowing.
There's glowing and things happening. But then Bruce Dern is kind of this, like, he was in Vietnam and he wants to, like...
Bruce Dern's characters, think of like Dale Gribble from King of the Hill.
Okay, yes.
Like a proto-MAGA character.
Absolutely. And, he's got the young hot wife. The guy down the street, his wife has gone on vacation without him. And so he just comes and eats all their food. And he's putting all these ideas in Tom Hanks's ear, saying like, oh, well, you should go knock on the door. And, and they like kind of argue about it. And they have, some whatever. And this kid, they see the kid. He kind of looks like he would be a werewolf. He's got like a little like kind of gray skin. He's
the
got
kid the Klopek kid
hair.
That lives in the house.
The Klopek kid that lives in the house. Yeah, they see the kid in the house. But
the house is wrecked. It's like disheveled. It looks like a generic spooky house on a block.
Even their tree in their front yard has no leaves on it.
Right.
It's totally dead.
It's like the Addams Family house, except not as cool. So there's this neighbor, Corey Feldman plays Ricky Butler in this movie, who's this kid who's supposed to be painting his house while his parents are out of town. And I love this character because this character is completely positive about everything all the time.
Yeah.
And he also genuinely like loves his neighborhood too.
And the neighbors. He loves everybody.
He loves the neighborhood. He loves the neighbors. And he's completely, fully entertained by everything the neighbors are doing.
He brings a girl home to a date and sits on the porch with her to watch the neighborhood.
See the guy with the curly hair? That's Mr. Peterson. Now, he's like the skeptic. He's basically grounded in reality, and he doesn't want to believe his neighbors are up to something strange. Because if they were, he'd have to deal with it, right? Yeah, fine. Okay. Now, see the fat guy? That's Mr. Weingarten. He thinks the Klopeks are really evil and that they're, like, building a dungeon in their basement. So he and Miss Rumsfeld decided to do a little snooping around tonight. This should be good.
Yeah, and when things start coming to a head, when they're trying to figure out once and for all what's going on with this house, he's inviting his whole friends over.
He has a party.
And I really appreciated this character from a modern context here because this movie's kind of satirizing, how should I put it? In the 80s, you'd see this a lot because, we're coming out of like World War II and people have built their lives. There's been a middle class structure that at this point was starting to go downhill, but I don't think we knew how bad that infrastructure was going to fall. Mm-hmm. So when you look back in like some stuff from the 80s and 90s, there's almost this side satirical snide criticism of what they would describe as like a ticky-tack suburban life.
That's exactly the word.
Like you've got your family, the wife, the kid, the dog, the yard, but maybe it's not as amazing or as cool as you think it is. And you got this good job that you go to, but your life is just like ticky-tack is the best word I can come up for. I even recall that song from the beginning of Weeds. Now we're at a time where like no one can even afford a house, especially if they're trying to be a first-time homeowner and coming off of buying a house from nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's really harder than ever to get a good job that pays well to buy these good houses. So when I reflect on these times where people are complaining about the drolls of suburbanism, it hits awkward in a modern sense because a lot of those things that people seem to have taken for granted then are so much harder to get now than they ever were. Yeah. And the income disparity and the money being accumulated is further towards the top than ever before. So that's something about like a lot that was these thematic things in our childhood that almost seem like criticisms of lifestyles. But I look back at it now and I'm like, no, this all looks nice. This neighborhood looks amazing. You want to have that great house. You want to have the daughter, the son. And what I love about Corey Feldman's character is that his is the only character that doesn't seem to take that for granted at all.
Yeah.
He loves it all. He loves the neighborhood. He loves his house. Maybe he's a little drunk, fuck up kid, but he genuinely is sincere about how much everything in that neighborhood means to him.
While also recognizing that these guys be acting crazy.
Yeah.
But he genuinely loves them. It's not making fun of them.
Over time, they see them. What are the things they see the neighbors doing in this house?
So the sound and light comes out of the basement almost nightly. And at some point, Tom Hanks is in an upstairs room and he looks down and sees 3 hooded figures digging holes in the backyard in the rain. There's one night when the 3 main guys in the neighborhood, which is like Bruce Dern, Tom Hanks, and that third guy, they see the young man who lives at the house, the Klopniks? Klopek. The young Klopek comes and drives his car to the garbage can and then puts in this huge bag that he's like slamming down the lid on, and they're convinced it's a body, but they don't go to get it that night. The reason they think it's a body is because right before this, the guy at the end of the street who lives alone and has a little dog who poops on Bruce Dern's lawn, which before this, that seemed to be the biggest problem they had, is missing. They don't know where he is, and they break into his house because his dog is running around dirty, which is crazy.
The dog also digs up under the fence. It might have been
it's Tom Hanks'
Peterson's dog digs a femur.
Yeah, digs a femur.
Which they say it's a femur, and there's kind of an illusion later on that maybe it's not what they think it is.
But it is.
I think that's what kind of blew my mind. That blew my mind when I was a kid watching this movie, because I really went along with this movie, and we'll get into the ending here in a little bit, because I feel like there's not much more to say. It's just about these paranoid neighbors that are paranoid about their new neighbors that are creepy, and it looks like they're just stereotyping them for being different and weird.
That's absolutely true, and that's like the Carrie Fisher's character and also the wife of Bruce Dern. They're both like, well, you just need to go talk to these people. They're just people.
And that's
we'll go say hello.
And that's when they meet Henry Gibson's character, Dr. Klopek. He's a doctor. Also, when I love the parts where Tom Hanks' character is not convinced at first, his neighbors have to convince him. But when he's slowly starting to, you get all the horror tropes that occur. Like, there's a storm, there's lightning, the music is surging whenever you look at the creepy house.
I also love that when they're in the house, he's very creeped out. And he's doing his physical things. And he's even, before that, he's been very loud, you know, like you were talking about. But then there's this point when he goes to the restroom. And he comes back and he's very composed. And he's very quiet, and he's very like, well, we should head home. You know, they get home. He's telling the ladies, there's nothing wrong. They're normal people. It's all fine. The guys think he's crazy. He gets them alone in the back room, and it's because now he believes, because he found the guy's toupee is missing.
The missing Walter's toupee is in their
and a bunch
house.
of magazines with Walter's name on it. So he thinks that they've stolen this stuff. And that's what I love so much, is that he was so big. And then he kind of like brings it down to like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And even Bruce Dern, who is like this militant guy, he says to him, so what are we going to do, soldier? Like they kind of like come together as this like crew.
Yeah.
But then it gets immediately insane again. But I like that kind of flip of his attitude of being like, no, now this is real. So now I'm going to be calm, and I'm going to get my wife out of the house, and I'm going to make sure my child is away.
And the Klopeks explain to them that they have to go somewhere.
They have to go to the university the next day, and they take their big dog with them.
While everyone is gone, the 3 neighbors go into their house, go into their basement, and they just start digging.
This is the day that Corey Feldman's having a party.
And they see the furnace. It's just this massive fucking furnace.
It has this like Medusa head on the front of it. Like this.
It looks cool.
It looks fucking cool as hell.
And that's what's making the lights and the crazy noises, this crazy furnace. People start coming home, coming back. And Bruce Dern's character is on the walkie-talkie trying to...
on the roof across
on
the
the
street.
roof trying to explain what's going on. the other neighbor does get out and realizes that
big goofy guy.
The Klopeks are coming, but Ray's still in there. But Ray doesn't hear him because he's accidentally burying his walkie-talkie. Strikes a gas line.
He's digging and digging, trying to find Walter's body.
And the fucking house explodes with Tom Hanks's character Ray inside of it. And Carol also happens to return his wife at the same time. And
without the kid.
Yeah,
and the dogs are not there.
She had the dogs with her
when she left.
The dogs were with her when she came back.
Okay.
But the kids, I guess, stayed at the cousin's house. Tom Hanks comes walking out of the burnt up, exploded house, and the way he slips down those front steps,
so good.
I really thought his physicality and his like mannerisms were a bit much until this point. And I thought he played that like his defeatedness. Where he realizes, like, you know, we're all just full of shit.
He calls himself broken.
Oh, Walter also comes home. Apparently, he just had a heart attack, and his family just left the dog.
Well, and they found a note that said, "I have your dog, Ray." And so they think that he stole his dog. They think that Ray has, like, done all the bad stuff. Like, Ray is the bad guy. There's this cop there talking about how Dr. Klopek is so well respected, and he, of course, never did anything wrong, and all this craziness.
Ray does this big speech where it's like, we think that they're doing everything wrong because of the way they look, the way their house is, what we see them doing. But we're the ones like breaking in and like spying and like doing all this terrible things. And now we've blown up their house. We're the monsters. We're the bad people in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's very funny where Tom Hanks is just like, almost like this indignant child. Like,
I've been blown up. Take me to the hospital. Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
Take me to the hospital, and he takes the stretcher and throws it in the ambulance. Like, the last 10 minutes of this movie, I think Tom Hanks' physicality is actually quite brilliant. But when he gets in the ambulance, Dr. Klopek's in there, and he's apologizing to him. He doesn't realize what's going on, but Klopek's like...
Yeah, he's like, "I'm so sorry I hurt your house. I'll help you fix it."
And Klopek's like, "I know you looked in the furnace. And I know you saw the skulls." And then turns out the youngest Klopek is driving the ambulance, and they start to take off. And when I was a child, it blew my mind that they turned out to be bad.
Oh, sure,
because I thought the full joke, like when he's like explaining that we're the actual monsters, like
that's the point.
Oh, this is the point of the movie.
I mean, that part's still not wrong. That part is still true.
But they ended up being right. In just the worst possible way, I guess.
The way they went about it was fucked up.
Yeah.
But yes, they did expose actual murderers.
And so they end up wrecking the ambulance like through
Klopek's car, and the trunk comes up.
Yeah, I think they crash it through the larger neighbor's house, like the front door.
They do.
And his wife, who's been gone, comes home right at that moment.
And she just starts.
Yeah. And so everything just kind of wraps up in a bow where it ends up they were right.
There's this part. They were right. And they find the bones in the trunk. But there's this
I love
part,
that they just had a trunk full of bones.
There's this part where he's, out of it. I think it's even maybe before he does his speech. Because he gets really mad at the friend who's kind of egged him on into all of this. He's kind of out of it, and the cop is talking about, breaking and entering, attempted assault, blah, 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 like naming all this stuff. And he just kind of looks at his wife who's sitting next to him, and he just goes, "You're so pretty." And she, for as mad as you would think she would be, she smiles at him.
Yeah.
And I really like their relationship because, in the beginning, they're very kind of picky at each other. But they've been together for a long time. They are annoying each other, so they are annoyed at each other, But you can tell that they love each other. And there's just this moment where it just seems so out of character for her, but it also makes so much sense. And the way that she looks at him, like in that moment, it was very sweet in the middle of all this chaos, which even made it stronger when he flipped the fuck out. I thought it was good.
It ended. It's a movie that ends very strong, and it is a very entertaining movie all the way through. There are some things that are ridiculous, but that's kind of the theme of this week's discussion is super camp and goofiness and comedy horror.
Yeah.
And but I think I can fall here to American Werewolf in London. I gave it 3.5. Was that a little too high? I don't know.
I'm thinking it might be, but it's okay. It was fun and it was good and it was...
There are things... I really like that movie a lot more than I did. And I like this
Yeah.
movie too, but I'm a 3.25 on the Burbs.
Okay, I'm a 3.5. I'm going to give it the same as Werewolf in London for very different reasons.
So a 6.75. That's a good score. And I think the Burbs... it doesn't hold up quite as well as when I... Like, if I was like 13 years old, I'd have been like, The Burbs, that's like pretty much a perfect movie. Like, I loved this movie when I was a kid.
Okay, so question for you.
Okay.
We're going to do that thing where you're going to tell me who's the hottest. We're going to rank them, okay? So it's the nurse from Werewolf in London.
Oh, man.
Gina Davis as a vampire in 65000.
You know Gina Davis is essentially... They dressed her up like that because of Elvira, I bet.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Dee Wallace in Critters.
Ooh.
She's very mom, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know. And then Gilda Radner in Honeymoon.
Yeah.
She would be fun. That would be fun.
What about the aunt, the great aunt, played by Dom DeLuise?
Oh my gosh. Elvira herself.
Elvira, yeah.
Or Miss Carrie Fisher.
Okay, here's my ranking. Number 1, Nurse Alex.
Okay.
I think she's pretty stunning.
Yeah.
Number 2 has got to be Elvira.
Yep.
Number 3, I'll give it to Carrie Fisher for the sake of my childhood. Number 4, Gina Davis. She looks great. Sure.
I'd probably flip those two personally, but
Sure.
yeah.
Dee Wallace. I mean, she could still get it. I mean,
Yeah.
even though she's number 5.
And then Miss Gilda Radner, who, like I
Yeah.
said, her character is just very silly. There's
Right.
not really anything sexy, but she's one of those people that would be so much fun. Cool, I love it.
All right, that's it. That's our Campy Creeps and Horny Haunts. We got one more week. Hopefully it'll come around within 2 weeks. And it's called Eaters of the Flesh, Zombies and Cannibals.
As we're sitting here, we are 2 days away from Halloween.
Yeah, I think this will drop by Halloween.
So happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
And Halloween is my personal favorite holiday. I have taken the day off, and if I can help it, we're going to watch all those movies this weekend. Plus other movies. So maybe it won't be 2 weeks.
Sounds great. Yeah, we'll do it. And I'm looking forward to what's coming too. So finally get to sit and watch Return of the Living Dead. Yes. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you soon. Documentary themed discussions dropping every Tuesday from stuff we recorded years ago. So keep on the lookout for that. And keep on the lookout for us and new stuff around the corner. Love ya!
Happy Halloween!
Thank you for watching and listening to the Projectors Podcast. You can help us out by subscribing to us on YouTube or your preferred podcast listening application, where we have hundreds more film discussions. Though our more recent episodes will be spread out, we are currently reposting episodes of our very first film podcast called Documenteers, in which we discuss documentary films. We're reposting those episodes every Tuesday until we're done, as well as anthology collections of our shorts once a month. Help us out by subscribing, recommending, listening, and leaving a nice review of the show wherever you can do such things. Thank you once again, and we formally apologize for anything Bob ever said ever.
Do you feel it in the air? Could be the fear that's everywhere. Moon don't look friendly. There's blood in the sky, and a taste of sweat burning in my eyes. Yeah. The kids are getting ready. You think they're insane? And the street night's coming, and they'll never be the same. Look out for the darkness, hold on to your soul. It's a call of the